In 2019, the world was shaken by the shocking arrest of billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein. For years, Epstein had lived a life of extreme wealth, private jets, powerful friends, and luxury mansions. But behind that glamorous image was a scandal that would become one of the most disturbing criminal cases involving powerful elites in modern history. This is the story of how Jeffrey Epstein rose to incredible power and how his secret world eventually collapsed. Jeffrey Epstein was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953. His family was not wealthy. In fact, he grew up in a modest apartment in a working-class neighborhood. Yet from an early age, Epstein seemed determined to climb the social ladder. In the 1970s, he briefly worked as a teacher at an elite private school in Manhattan, but he soon moved into finance, where his life would change dramatically. Epstein joined Wall Street and quickly developed a reputation for managing money for extremely rich clients. Over time, he built connections with powerful figures across politics, business, and entertainment. Epstein owned multiple luxury properties, including a massive mansion in Manhattan, a private island in the Caribbean, and several private jets. To the outside world, he appeared to be a mysterious billionaire who somehow had access to the most powerful people on the planet, but rumors about Epstein had been circulating for years. In 2005, police in Florida began investigating allegations that Epstein had been involved in illegal activities involving underage girls. The case quickly gained attention because of Epstein's wealth and influence. However, what happened next shocked many people. Instead of facing major federal charges, Epstein reached a controversial plea deal in 2008 arranged by federal prosecutor Alexander Acosta. The deal allowed Epstein to plead guilty to lesser state charges. He served only about 13 months in a county jail and was reportedly allowed to leave the facility during the day for work. Many critics later argued that the agreement was far too lenient for the seriousness of the accusations. For years after that, Epstein quietly returned to his wealthy lifestyle. He continued traveling, hosting gatherings, and maintaining friendships with powerful figures, including former US President Bill Clinton, Britain's Prince Andrew, and businessmen who later became President Donald Trump. But the story was far from over. In 2018, investigative journalists reopened public attention on the case, revealing details about Epstein's earlier plea deal and raising questions about how such a powerful figure avoided stronger consequences. Public pressure grew quickly. Then, in July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York arrested Jeffrey Epstein again. This time, the charges were far more serious, and investigators began examining his global network of contacts. Authorities alleged that Epstein operated a large and secretive system that involved recruiting young victims and flying wealthy associates to his private properties. The case drew massive global attention because it involved extremely powerful individuals. Another key figure in the investigation was Epstein's longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell was accused of helping Epstein recruit and manipulate victims for years. In 2020, she was arrested by the FBI and later stood trial in the United States. In 2021, Maxwell was found guilty on several federal charges related to helping Epstein exploit victims. Her conviction was seen as one of the few major legal outcomes connected to Epstein's network. But the Epstein case took an even darker and more mysterious turn before his own trial could begin. In August 2019, while being held in a federal jail in New York, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell. Authorities ruled his death a suicide. However, because Epstein was connected to so many powerful figures, his death immediately sparked global controversy and countless conspiracy theories. Many people questioned how such a high-profile prisoner could die while under federal supervision. Multiple investigations later found serious failures in the jail security procedures, including guards who were reportedly not monitoring cells properly that night. Even today, debates and speculation about Epstein's death continue around the world, but beyond the mystery and headlines, the Epstein case had a major impact on how people view wealth, power, and accountability. It exposed how influential individuals can sometimes avoid scrutiny for years. It also pushed governments and law enforcement agencies to re-examine how powerful criminals are investigated and prosecuted. The scandal also led to lawsuits against several institutions that had financial connections to Epstein. Some of these organizations later reached settlements with victims. Perhaps the biggest legacy of the Epstein case is the global conversation it started. The case forced the public to ask difficult questions.
I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there is tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody.
How could someone operate for so long without being stopped? How did wealth and influence affect the legal system? And how many powerful people knew what was happening? Even years after his death, new documents, testimonies, and investigations continue to reveal pieces of the puzzle. The story of Jeffrey Epstein remains one of the most controversial criminal cases involving wealth and influence in modern history. A billionaire who once moved in the same circles as world leaders, a secret network hidden behind luxury and power, and a case that still raises questions that the world may never fully answer.